Good afternoon. I don't think I need to tell you about the impact of load shedding, the stage 6 load shedding that you're living through again, and how it literally stops you from doing your work. Can you imagine trying to run a business during all of this? Grace Harding is the CEO of the franchise Ocean Basket, also runs the Restaurant Collective. Grace, good afternoon to you. I mean, what does this do to restaurants? You have stage 6 load shedding, the electricity is probably on more than it's off. Are people even able to trade?
We were just having a discussion today about it, and we've read somewhere that it could get to stage 13. I think we all know that it's becoming almost impossible, and there are so many knock-on effects, like now an income statement all of a sudden has a generator on it, paying off the generator, then spending an extra 30, 40, 50,000 plus a month on diesel. I was speaking to David Higgs of Marble the other day. He has to have 2 generators plus a backup generator. And we are running into hundreds of thousands of rand now. And the next worry is, when does the diesel run out? So it is getting to a point where you sit in a room and say, wow, how can we think differently? And nothing short of starting to just braai everything. I saw on the app today, when they were talking about the 7 hours plus load shedding, they just had a picture of a little braai. So I don't know what to say anymore.
I mean, I suppose there's some things you can cook. You can braai, you can cook on gas, but there's also a lot you can't do. But it's not actually very environmentally friendly to braai, or necessarily to use gas either. I mean, if it was, you wouldn't have brought electric stoves in the first place.
Oh, look, the whole thing is just impractical. I mean, you need electricity for the extractor fans. So even people who have incredible big charcoal grills in their restaurants, what are they going to do? You need electricity for your point of sale, for your milkshake machine, for your lights, for security. So it's not just about food. To run a restaurant takes so much. You know, all the systems that capture all your data, it just goes on and on and on. It becomes an absolute nightmare. It affects the cell phone signals, as we are all aware. It affects Wi-Fi. So now we're having problems like orders being sent, let's say, to distribution centers and not being received on time or correctly, which means the stuff's not getting delivered to the restaurants. And I can go on and on and on. But I think we are really, really going to head into problems that we wouldn't have even imagined a year or two ago. And I feel for the manufacturing plants. I mean, can you imagine what they go through?
I mean, something that I've seen quite recently is someone picking up a point of sale. Okay, I'm holding a cell phone in my hand. But they'll pick up the point of sale device and they go to the door of the restaurant. Well, they go outside and they're waving it around, right? Waving it around, looking for signal. You just need it to go through. The guy's she's touched her card. Nothing happens. And then you look at each other and you go, well, I've eaten the stuff. I mean, what do I do now? I can't even do the washing up for you because there's no hot water.
Yes, and I mean, of course, where there are gas heaters full of hot water and things like that. Someone said to me, well, why don't you just focus on sushi? And I said, well, I have to cook the rice. So I don't know if we're going to go to prehistoric times until we find our fire again, but we need help.
The other thing, Grace, that must worry you, it worries me quite a bit, and it worries people in the performing industry. When it's dark and there's no electricity, people stay at home. They haven't necessarily got out of the pandemic stay at home. So the middle classes with money are staying at home. They're not going to come out to your restaurants.
Yeah, in some areas, they come out more because the restaurants have got the generators. So it's a little bit of a combination of things that happen. But security becomes a risk because the streets are dark. So, you know, they say every challenge has an opportunity. It's becoming more and more difficult to find those opportunities. I mean, remember in the beginning of load shedding, you saw all the banners and all the advertising saying, when your lights aren't on, ours are. That became an accepted norm. Now, it's an accepted norm that it's dark. What's going to happen next? And it's not just about the darkness. It's about how do restaurants cope with that massive increased expense on an income statement, and it wasn't there before. What do? We can't keep on pushing up the prices. We'll lose our guests. So really, really interesting.
Grace Harding, thank you, CEO of the franchise Ocean Basket, also at the Restaurant Collective. Well,